Justice for Daniel Irving. Justice for Daniel Irving. Justice for Daniel Irving. Justice for Daniel Irving.
Ben Crump has said it before, and he said it again this week. Not partial justice, not half justice, but whole justice. And this time he's saying it for two different families in two different states who have never met, but whose stories are eerily connected. One is an 18-year-old football player who went missing off the coast of Mississippi. The other is an 18-year-old honor roll student who went into a Texas lake and never came back out. Two mothers, two sons, one attorney standing between them and the answers they're demanding. Before we get into it, make sure you're subscribed and that bell icon is turned on, because both of these cases are moving fast, and we are staying on them until these families get real answers. This is Case Watch. Let's start with Nolan Wells. Ocean Springs, Mississippi is a small, close-knit coastal city on the Gulf, the kind of place where kids grow up playing sports together and staying friends long after high school. Just off the coast sits Horn Island, a remote barrier island, federally protected, reachable only by private boat. On the 4th of July, it fills up fast, close to 200 people by some estimates, boats everywhere, music, alcohol, a holiday crowd. Nolan Wells was one of them. 18 years old, an Ocean Springs High School graduate, a wide receiver for Southwest Mississippi Community College, gearing up to return for the new season. Everyone who knew him describes him the same way, a quiet leader, a big smile, the kind of teammate who lifted everyone else up. His father raised him on one rule: if you go with the group, you come back with the group. Nolan traveled to Horn Island by boat with a group of friends, several of them white. That detail matters here because his parents, Christine and Elmore Wansley, along with their attorney Ben Crump, have said openly they don't fully trust that this investigation will be handled without bias, given Mississippi's history. But as of right now, the official cause of death still hasn't been released. The Jackson County Sheriff's Office says the investigation remains active. Nolan's family is still waiting. Now, keep all of that in mind, because 1,300 miles away in Texas, a strikingly similar story was unfolding at almost the exact same time. Daniel Irving, 18 years old, an honor roll student, a member of his high school swim team, described by everyone who knew him as an outstanding kid who stayed out of trouble. On April 13th, Daniel connected by phone with 19-year-old Lucas Roper, who picked him up along with a 17-year-old and drove them out to Lake Ray Hubbard in Rowlett, Texas. The plan was fishing and swimming. At some point, the three of them jumped off a railroad bridge into the water below. Daniel went in. He never came back up. And here's where it turns into something far more disturbing than an accident. Instead of calling for help, instead of calling 911, instead of calling Daniel's mother, Roper and the 17-year-old got in the car and left. Police say they threw Daniel's clothes into a nearby tree line, and that Roper told the 17-year-old to throw Daniel's phone out the window into a ditch, so it would never be found. Daniel was reported missing. For 4 days, while his mother desperately searched for him, his body remained at the bottom of that lake, until Dallas Fire Rescue recovered it on April 17th. The medical examiner ruled it an accidental drowning. 1 week later, on April 20th, detectives sat down with Roper for a voluntary interview, and he reportedly admitted almost everything: that he panicked, that he fled, that he deleted every text and call between himself and Daniel because he knew an investigation was coming. Detectives confirmed the deleted messages when they checked his phone. And here's the part fueling all of the outrage right now: Roper wasn't arrested until July 9th. Nearly 3 months sat between that confession and an actual arrest. When it finally happened, both Roper and the 17-year-old were charged with tampering with physical evidence, a third-degree felony. Nothing related to causing Daniel's death. Roper posted a $10,000 bond and walked out. That is exactly where Daniel's mother, Tamika Erving, drew the line. At a press conference on July 13th and 14th, standing with Ben Crump, attorney Sean Derdya, and community advocate Dominique Alexander, she rejected the tampering charges outright.
My son was an amazing son. He was never into any trouble. He was a protector. And we would have conversations about his future. And this is This wasn't supposed to happen. I have gone through, our family has gone through so much the past 3 months, waiting for the justice system to provide justice. A reasonable-minded person would know, if you are not guilty of a crime, why would you throw away his clothes and delete messages and not even call his mother? I want justice for my son. I want justice for Daniel.
Firstly, I would just like to say that my brother did not deserve this. My mother did not deserve this. My family did not deserve this. My brother was a law-abiding citizen. He had big dreams, big aspirations. He was always smiling. There's not a photo of him not smiling. My brother wanted to do so much with his life. Very kind. He was a protector. He loved everyone. Amen. Everyone has nothing but good things to say about him. So for something so tragic and so demonic to happen to him, it doesn't make sense. Amen. And we will not stop until we get justice, because I know something else happened down there at that lake. My brother actually wanted to join the military. He wanted to serve this country. He wanted to protect everyone of this country. He wanted to protect the people that hurt him. That's the type of person that he was. So for something like this to happen to him, and for it to be no sense of urgency, is absolutely ridiculous, and it's not something that we will stand for. I have no comment on that at this time, but nevertheless, right is right and wrong is wrong. And when it's a life or death situation, you are to render aid. You are to help someone. Someone needs to be held accountable, and we're here today because we want accountability. Complete agony, day and night. From the moment we wake up to the moment we go to sleep, it's a soul tie between all of us. We're so equally yoked and connected that we feel this deeply. Even since his disappearance, we knew something was wrong, because he would never leave his family worried about him. He would always come home. He would always answer our phone calls. He would always be there for us. Always. There's not a time Mike would not be there for us. So now we are here for him.
Nadia said these two let Daniel's body sit at the bottom of that lake for 4 days while they went on living their lives. Crump echoed the same demand he's making in Mississippi: not partial justice, not half justice, whole justice. The family wants the Dallas County District Attorney to take this in front of a grand jury and pursue charges beyond tampering, up to and including murder, arguing that a trained swimmer like Daniel drowning under these circumstances simply doesn't add up.
Because I've watched from afar that Sean and Dominique and the advocates have been trying to get attention to the tragedy of how your son was taken from this world. And I've watched you and how passionate of a advocate and fighter you were for your baby boy. Because there's a bond between mother and son that, you cannot define it. And so, Sean, I stand here saying, not only are we going to fight to make sure they remember Daniel Irving's name, but we're going to make them get justice, not partial justice, not half justice, not 3/5 justice, but we're going to get whole justice for Daniel Irving. Because just as outrageous, just as horrific, and just as tragic as the circumstances surrounding Nolan Wells' tragic death in Mississippi, it is just as unnerving, the tragic death of Daniel Irving's. Just as unnerving. I mean, when you think about, as I understand from Sean, these just facts that aren't adding up at all. 2 young white men come to his house to pick him up, and they go fishing, swimming, and then they come back. But yet, Daniel doesn't. And the fact, if I understand correctly, Sean, they throw away his cell phone, they throw away his clothes, they don't tell his mother or anybody else what happened. And it's 4 days later, after Minister Dominique has got the community saying, where is Daniel Irving? And people are starting to have search teams, and the media is starting to ask questions. And finally, then these 2 young white men come forward, and they say, oh, he drowned. It was an accident. But we were too afraid to come forward. We got rid of his evidence. We got rid of his phone. We deleted all our text messages. But just take our word for it. It was an accident. You don't need to really investigate. Just take our word for it. Where there's smoke, Dominique, there's fire. Sean, if it walks like a duck, if it quacks like a duck, if it sounds like a duck, then it's a duck. And this duck, these 2 ducks.
But legally, this is genuinely complicated, and it's worth being honest about that instead of just riding the outrage. Outside legal experts not connected to the case have pointed out that proving murder requires showing Roper and the juvenile actually caused Daniel's death, not just that they panicked and covered it up. Right now, accidental drowning is still the official ruling. As of the latest statements, Dallas police and the DA's office are declining further comment, calling it an open investigation.
He liked to go by Mike, so this is Fight for Mike.
Fight for Mike.
Mikey was an outstanding young man. He was never to any trouble. He was like my guardian angel. And when he was born, he had an angel kiss on his face. And so he was very special from the very beginning. And he was never, as I said before, never into any trouble. And I raised my children to love everybody. Yeah. So for those who may say it's about race, in this case, I believe that it is. Okay? I also want to send my condolences to the Nolan Wells family,
Yes, ma'am.
because I can relate. I understand how you feel. I believe that there is an attack on black excellence.
Wow.
All of the young men that Ben Crump mentioned are all 18-year-old black men
My
living
Lord.
in affluent areas.
My Lord.
And this didn't just happen. There's an attack on black excellence. And as Mr. Crump mentioned, about 3/5 a person. Historically, that's what we were seen as.
Yes, ma'am.
As property, and 3/5 a person.
Yes, ma'am.
And that's what I feel by just tampering with evidence, charges being placed on these 2 white boys. I feel like my son only received partial justice. But we're here to have murder charges brought against those 2.
Full justice. Full justice.
And let me also add that in the city of Rowlett, when I called the police, I annoyed them and they hung up the telephone in my face. So just imagine as a mother or a parent, calling someone to help you save your child, and they hang up the telephone in your face.
My Lord.
And then, as a mother, I knew something was wrong on day one. And I asked the officers at Rowlett Police, ping my son's phone. I was adamant. I said his phone is here. I'm sorry, his ID is here, his social security card, his money is here. This is not like his character. And they refused to do it anyway. And I said, it's just suspicious. He's not answering his texts. He's not answering his phone. I pleaded with them.
My Lord.
So look at what we're holding here. Two 18-year-old black teenagers. Two bodies recovered from water. Two groups of friends whose stories don't line up. Two families standing at podiums with the same lawyer, demanding the same thing, the whole truth, not a version of it. In Mississippi, the cause of death is still undetermined. In Texas, the cause of death is ruled, but the family says the truth got buried with it, literally thrown into a tree line and a ditch. I want you to sit with something before you go. When the people who were there choose silence, choose to run, choose to delete instead of explain, does that silence become its own kind of confession in your mind? And when two cases from completely different states involving kids who never knew each other start following the exact same pattern, is that a coincidence, or is that a pattern worth paying very close attention to? Tell me where you land in the comments. If you want us to keep following both of these cases as they develop, hit subscribe and turn that notification bell on, because Nolan Wells and Daniel Irving are still waiting on the truth, and so are we.